I hear a crash of glass breaking, and I'm awake. It's the middle of the night, but I hear shouting outside, coming from the living room. My sister's on the left side. We're still kids, and we have a shared room, and she's awake too. Both of us look at each other as there's more shouting, more arguing, more yelling. I hear another crash, more glass breaking. Then a big thump. It's probably my dad hitting the wall again. Or probably just slamming his fist against the table another time. And then more yelling. At this point, I'm not scared. I've heard about this before, or heard this argument plenty of times. I'm just not sure what to do, but stay awake and listen. The argument continues, and I hear a door slam. My dad left the house. And then I look over at my sister, and she gets up. She walks out of the door, and I can hear that she also went outside as well. I remember the last time she told me that she went out, she had to beg our dad to stay. Because he was always threatening to leave, basically. To leave the family, to leave my mom. And I was 8 years old at the time, around that age, and I didn't really fully understand what was going on. I just knew that it didn't feel right. It didn't feel good. But at the same time, it wasn't surprising. I was used to it. My dad ended up staying. My sister cried. My sister begged for him to come back. And then more nights like that followed. More yelling, more breaking. And at a certain point, me and my sister, we grew a distaste, a hatred almost, for what alcohol did to my dad, because he came home drunk pretty much every single night. Sometimes it was kind of fun. He just laid on the floor, collapsed, and we would just step on his back. We were small enough to do that. And sometimes it was sad to just see how upset my mom was. So me and my sister decided, we made a promise, a vow, that we won't be like my dad. We won't drink ever. For all those nights that we spent as kids, as we shouldn't have, listening to so much hatred, so many arguments, so much furniture breaking. It wasn't the best environment to grow up in. And a part of me didn't even realize that until a lot later in my life. That's the promise that kept me from ever drinking alcohol in my life. And my sister, well, she didn't end up letting the promise hold her back from doing what she wanted. She didn't want her or our father to control an aspect of her life, and that's the way she chose to see it and her perspective and take on it. For me, I decided I wanted to keep it, even growing into an adult, just seeing everyone around me, I don't know a single other person that has not drank alcohol in their life at this point in their life, in their late 20s. And that's okay. I don't mind it. I don't really have a hatred for it itself. I just remember those moments back when I was a kid. And I remember a time my high school girlfriend was telling me how she was also going to not drink alcohol because she didn't want me to be alone. But I told her, it's okay. You don't have to do that. And eventually, in college, when we were of age, she broke. She did it because that's just the culture. And I never blamed her. I told her, like, you have to understand, this is just something in me that's been really, really nailed in me because of my history. So that's just a quick story of why I've never drank alcohol in my life and why I probably never will. Just a promise from when I was a kid for moments that should have never happened. But who knows? I always considered some exceptions might be possible. Like, let's say on my wedding day or something like that. But for now, keeping the promise feels right. So I'll keep doing it. For my past self. To me, a long time ago. A frightened child who just wanted to make sure that the same thing never happened again. That I would never be that person. That's it for this one.